be, you know, but I just wanted to,
I tried to get this on my other computer and has a little bit better angle, but that's okay. Maybe
that's fine. You look like you got a good spot though for recordings, right? You've got your, all your cool stuff in the background, a little Angela Sturm going on. You got some great branding going on.
thanks.
It kind of raises the game. I feel like Lutronic needs to up our game when we're talking with doctors like you. Paul was commenting too. He goes, Bill, who's doing all her social media? I was like, she's got these magical people. You know, I think you mentioned before, but you guys put together a good brand. Let me tell you.
Well, thank you.
It shows.
Thank you. We try to make everything look good and be consistent and all the stuff. Okay, I had this just a second ago. I know there's a presenter mode, and that's the one that we want.
Yep. And then once you share your screen, we'll just double check that with, you know, the sound sounds good, but right now it's coming across very clear. Paul, are you hearing the same thing?
I do. Yep. It sounds great.
I'm going to share my screen and maybe y'all can help me find it because I just had it and now I can't find it. Can you do the presenter mode and off a Dropbox? Because I was using just the file.
Try that bottom right next to the 59%. That little icon might do it.
Well, I wanted the one with the notes at the bottom.
Oh.
Or can I?
Right. So maybe she should probably download it. Do you think, Paul?
I think that might be the case. Yeah. I'm not
Okay.
And that's fine. That might just be a couple of minutes, but yeah, that's probably smart to just have it on your desktop. Then I think it'll go into its full blown, you know, presenter mode.
Well, thanks for all of your help with this.
Oh, no problem. Listen, it's always, it gets easier and easier, especially as you kind of start sharing. I knew you had some great, you know, video clips, and that just brings the whole thing to life. And then adding some of the before and afters are really nice too. Because especially when they're yours, Angela, when you get to say like, you know, I treated this patient, and even though the picture may look like modestly better, you can say this patient was truly glowing for 2 weeks. She's coming back. She loves it, right? You can add more to that story when it's your own patients.
Right. And be able to say, you know, yeah, it's a little bit better, but it's like 1 or 2 treatments with no downtime, which is pretty amazing.
Exactly. If you just go into presenter mode, that should do the trick. That little icon, let's see, down by that percentage in the lower right, that's one of the things you can click. Just to the left of that. There you go. That I think should go into it. There you go. Now, do you see the notes on your end, Angela, or you're just seeing the whole screen?
The whole screen.
Oh, interesting.
Last time I had to find it here.
Yeah, Paul, do you remember the steps? So that way, that way she could at least have the notes going, but the full screen presenting for us. Is that possible?
Let me double check on that. Give me 1 sec. Yeah, my fear is just if she's sharing screen and she's able to see the notes, we might be able to as well on the shared screen window here.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I can try to do it without it. Should be able to do it without it, but it's helpful.
Yeah, I'm just playing with it on my end here for a sec, if I can sort anything out. And one thing too, we're going to edit this after the fact. So if you need to reference the notes or something during it, we can always take a pause, take a peek, and keep it going. We can just cut it out afterwards.
Okay.
That reduces some stress on it.
Yeah, thank you. That was going to be my question is, are you editing it?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And so that, yeah, so feel free if there's a certain couple of slides where you feel like I really wouldn't mind referring to some notes. I agree. I'm pretty confident you'll probably be very fine with most, but you can always just pause. And we normally are doing, 8 to 10, 12 different cuts just to kind of make it time out and flow nicely. So that's not a problem at all. Paul's an expert. I'm pretty good at timestamps, right, Paul? We're a good team after the fact. And by the way, and I think because this is going to be such a popular webinar, we want to make sure we're probably going to push this off somewhere into like midsummer before we start promoting the heck out of it, and then probably go live potentially in the very beginning of September, Dr. Sturm.
Oh, okay.
We initially were thinking like, let's do it in, August.
Yeah.
And Gina's like, well, let's have the important ones happen at the beginning of September when the world starts to pay attention again. Because I think we'll have a good following. So that's sort of our tentative thinking right now. So there's, obviously plenty of time to get it just right. So yeah, so don't worry about that. If you feel like you get to a slide, you want to just take a pause and and take a look at the notes. We've gotten spoiled at the office and here at my home setup. Most of us got 2 monitors now, so it's easy to have, the notes in one place. And then you can see what the slides are doing on the other side. So I didn't even think about a single screen.
You know what? Let me see if I can turn this other computer on. I'm so not used to that. I can make this happen.
Yeah, take your time.
It's not like that. Okay, I've got 2 screens. Let's see if this goes. All
Does
right.
that seem to do it or no?
I think so. I think this will
Oh,
work.
good. Oh, good. So you can see notes on one of them then, and that way you're, oh, terrific. Terrific. And Paul, I'm just seeing the main, first slide right on my screen, which is probably the one we're going to be worried about, right?
Yep, me too. Looks like a perfect view on my end as well.
Terrific. And then what I'll probably do, actually, one thing, Paul, do you want to have Angela just pop through to one of the videos just to make sure the sound quality on one of the Hollywood Peel videos sounds good? Do you want to have her just,
yep.
You want to just advance Angela to, I think it's slide, I forget, probably maybe 18 or 20. I hear that pretty good, Paul. Do you?
Yep, it sounds clear over here too.
Terrific. And by the way, Angela, what I think I did, although if you're not sure, always go ahead and, click on the video. I think it,
Sorry.
perfect. Is if you just end up advancing the slide, the video should go ahead and play
Okay.
in case you don't want to have to kind of mouse over and grab them, but it's up to you. If you just advance, it should play. If not, your backup can go ahead and play away at those things.
Okay.
But, by the way, I don't think I had seen one of your I think the immediate glow up or whatever the other cool little 15-minute clip that you created. There's something about the music selection, right? That probably makes a big draw to the audience because the younger people, if there's music going on, that just it takes it to a whole new level. But I think that's kind of what makes them really nice. And obviously they're just so well produced, but that looks good. Yeah, that sounds comes across just fine.
There was one I wanted to check with y'all because on my computer, let me find it. It wasn't that one, this one here. Can you hear it? Or does it?
Yeah, I can hear it pretty well. Is there a little
Okay.
volume adjust on it? I mean,
Let me see.
I suppose you could turn it up a little bit more, right? And that was total amateur hour. That was just me trying to do something quick off the computer. That's why it shakes and rattles, but I just thought it was another good one I wanted to include. It makes it look very handmade, right?
Yeah, it's authentic.
But I like the way you've got the description, it just sort of shows the whole package. So people can see like, okay, it's the video and Dr. Sturm kind of likes to describe a couple of bullets. So it helps educate the patients, right?
Right.
So that looks great. And I think we're in great shape. So if you want to go back to the beginning, I suppose we can, and what we'll do is we'll pause at the very end. Once we sort of say, thank you very much. This is great. We'll get ready for questions. We'll take a little, a 1-minute breather, and then we'll probably end up turning off the video monitor for the Q&A. That way you can just focus on, responding to questions and not worried about picture in picture. But I think it will be nice to have your, your animated visible self
Yeah.
presenting for the slideshow.
Yeah.
So I think Paul and you and I will probably turn off our videos now, and we'll kind of mute ourselves as well. And then I'll just plan to read, once we get started, Dr. Sturm, I'm just going to plan to read like a little bit of a 1-minute introduction.
Mhm.
And then I'll just say, Lutronic is very pleased to introduce Dr. Sturm, and I'll turn the session over to you. And then you're free to just advance and go ahead and expand upon, your current practice and go to the next slide and have fun with it, right?
Okay.
Awesome. And by any means, you can always just stop and say redo or whatever. If there's a question, just go ahead and just break and let us know.
Second. I hear the cleaning crew coming. Let me close the door.
Oh, sure thing.
Okay. Yeah, that does, relieve some pressure if I don't have to do it perfect.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you want to get through, whatever, 3 or 4 slides and then be like, let me take a breath. And by the way, because things like before and afters, will go relatively quickly, right?
Right.
Other slides don't feel obligated to kind of have to hang on to some of those early technology slides. There's sort of a little bit of a logic. I tried to bold the key words to sort of just tell the story. Like, look, I'm getting clinical benefits from this, or IntelliBeam, it's better beam quality. You don't have to sort of worry about reading the stuff on the slide. I think the visuals will be supportive in that way, right? So it's just your comfort level.
Okay, great.
All right. So I think that if we're ready, Paul, we're on record mode, right?
Yep, we are good to go.
Okay, terrific. I'll go ahead and just wait for a few seconds of silence, and then I'll do a quick setup and intro.
Wonderful.
Hello and welcome to this Lutronic webinar about the Hollywood Spectra, the official laser for the Hollywood laser peel. Tonight, we're very pleased to have Dr. Angela Sturm as our presenter. Dr. Sturm is a double board certified facial plastic surgeon with certifications with the American Board of Otolaryngology, Head and Neck Surgery, and the American Board of Facial Plastic Surgery. She completed medical school and residency at Baylor College of Medicine, and during her medical training, she received numerous awards for surgical excellence, including the Outstanding Medical Student Award and the Top Medical Student Research Prize from the National Academy of Otolaryngology. Dr. Sturm has also co-authored and published numerous medical journal articles on head and neck surgical techniques, as well as facial plastic surgical techniques. Following her medical education, she completed the Distinguished American Academy of Facial Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery Fellowship Program to gain extensive expertise in cutting-edge head and neck surgical techniques. Dr. Sturm also pursued further training specifically in facial feminization and hair transplantation. She also completed important clinical research in areas of ethnic rhinoplasty, revision lower eyelid surgery, septoplasty, and revision rhinoplasty. Dr. Sturm is very passionate about promoting health and wellness, as well as rejuvenating her community through extensive involvement with many, many organizations. Lutronic is very, very pleased to introduce Dr. Sturm. Dr. Sturm, go ahead.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Bill, and thank you to you and Lutronic for having me here and being able to share our experiences with you. I'm Angela Sturm. I'm a facial plastic surgeon, just like you said, in Houston, Texas, and I've been in practice for about 8 years. I've had extensive experience using lasers for various adjuncts to surgery, as well as rejuvenation, all in their own, and I love the, sorry, I'll get the notes out of the way. Can I start over?
Of course, you're welcome. Just pick up where you left off and we can put it together. Don't worry about that.
So I'm Angela Sturm. I'm a facial plastic surgeon in Houston, Texas. I've been in practice for approximately 8 years, and I've used a number of different lasers for rejuvenation of the skin and adjuncts to surgery. And I'm super excited to share my experiences with the Hollywood Spectra with you. So we're going to talk a little bit about our market, where we're at, what people are looking for. We're of course going to talk about the Spectra itself, the proprietary nanoacoustic innovations, and then some of the really innovative capabilities like the PTP Plus, and we're going to talk about everyone's favorite, the Hollywood laser peel, and of course some before and afters. We're going to talk about why I invested in the Hollywood Spectra and what made it a really good fit for my practice, as well as how we market it and a summary practice impact. We'll have a Q&A and discussion at the end. So we have seen a lot of changes in our market, especially with social media. People, take it all in. They see everything. They see treatments. They see how they're done. They see what the results are. And so, especially with the younger clients, and younger patients, it's important for us to have very detailed conversations and be up on everything that's going on, because they're going to see all kinds of different treatments and want to know what these are and what is that good for them, is that not good for them, and they're not coming in to you, the doctor, saying, okay, you just recommend what I need. And sometimes they do, but a lot of times they come in and say, hey, I saw this. What is this? Tell me all about it. I'm excited about it. And you want to be able to say, oh yeah, I offer it and it's great. And that's what I have. And this is what it does. And this can work for you, or something else would be better. So these are some of the most educated consumers that we've had. And so they expect more. They expect more results with less downtime, and especially the younger patients, because these are the ones that are looking for that rejuvenation and prejuvenation, and they are wanting that 1 year, 5 year, 10-year plan to be able to see what they can do and always look better, and ideally like put off a facelift or not have to have it, or or an ablative laser. They want to be able to do little bits along the way to always look better, and so it's in our best interest and in the aesthetic community to reach out to and to partner with these millennials and Gen Z Zoomers, and I love that term, because these are great patients. These are people that you'll be able to have a long-term relationship with and really be able to be a part of that whole journey. And then also, just from a financial perspective, it makes more sense to establish that relationship early in life and be able to be there with them and to help them make all these decisions and ways to do those little tweaks along the way, and not, maybe not have the facelift or have it down the line, but always look 10, 20 years younger, hopefully that'd be great, but at least look better and, and look good and feel good for who they are. So it totally makes sense, to reach out to these patients and to establish those relationships. And the way to do that is to have these exciting low downtime treatments that are cost effective, with your millennials and especially the Gen Z, they may be wanting to do all of this, but they may not have, the boomers, pocketbook just right now, but they may in the future, and so they're looking at what I can do to get the most with my time, the most with my money. And to be honest with you, that's every patient. So I think It's something that we as physicians should look at and try to provide is, the most value to that patient. And that's where things like this high performance nanosecond laser comes in, because it gives you a great value, and a great treatment and great results, rather than having the picosecond devices that are a lot more expensive and more complicated. And so you're able to really, give patients exactly what it is that they're looking for. And I really like Lutronic because they have decades of experience with all skin types. And so this is a company that was established in the Asian market. And so they are looking at this through the lens of skin that is potentially, high risk to hyperpigment with lasers, and then also has pigment that needs to be treated. And so you're looking at that with, the ideas of how do we make these treatments better and gentler and more effective. And so that's really important to me, being in Houston, one of the most diverse cities in the US, that I'm able to treat people from all different backgrounds and all different ethnicities with lasers that are very safe for all of these skin types. And they have the highest number of peer-reviewed clinical studies on all skin types, which, that's what I look for too. Do you have the science to back up what you're telling me? And it's there. And they had the first laser that was FDA cleared to treat melasma with the predecessor to the Hollywood Spectra, the Spectra. And we all know that's kind of a big deal because melasma is really hard to treat. So the Hollywood Spectra, what makes it that much better are all of these innovations, the IntelliBeam, the Hypersurge Resonator, and the PTP mode. And we're going to go into all of those. And it not just makes it a little bit better, but it kind of makes it its own class. And we'll talk about why that is. So this is a very proven nanoacoustic pulse. So it's 5 nanoseconds. This is consistent, and this is important to know because not all Q-switch lasers are. Some may say 5 nanosecond, but they're actually 10 nanosecond or 20 nanosecond. And what does that mean? So that means how fast that pulse is on the skin. And so it's like when you take your finger and say you burn it on a stove. If you take it off very quickly, you will have a very precise little tiny ouchie, that is targeted to that point. But if you leave it on the stove, that is going to spread to the tissue around it, and you're going to have blisters, you're going to have a burn, you're going to have these complications. And so it's that idea with the laser. If it's a pulse that is too long, then you have the risk of that heat spreading to the tissue around it and causing complications. Most commonly, that's the PIH, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, recurrence of melasma. And so having that very sharp pulse width, we're able to have high peak energy and target that tissue, or target our target, which is the pigmentation, very well without having that spread of the heat where we don't necessarily want it. So that gives you more effective pigment clearance, and you don't need as many treatments to clear that pigment or the ink. And it's also important to know that not all of the nanosecond lasers are going to be able to do that because of their longer pulse widths, and then also their beams are inconsistent, with the output of it not being as consistent to get exactly what it is that you're trying to do and what you're wanting. Like I said, this is the shortest, most consistent through 5 nanosecond pulse width, which is what we just talked about. So that minimizes having complications, having hyperpigmentation after your laser, and it gets you the results that you're wanting faster. It has the IntelliBeam technology, which is really cool because this makes the energy even across the entire pulse and across the entire beam. And so you're not having that inconsistency of your beam. So it makes your treatment a lot more consistent and can actually be faster. And then the next two are really cool. They should change the way that you treat your patients. So there's the Hypersurge Resonator. And so I thought this was really interesting because it was something that I was really interested to learn about. It went against what I had actually learned about lasers in the past. And so, and we'll get into the detail of this, but what this is it delivers a high peak acoustic pressure that helps break up some of that pigment, so you don't have to use as much energy to clear it out. And so that energy actually exceeds that of most picosecond lasers. And that's the part that really surprised me. There's the PTP plus mode. And what this does is reduce the number of required treatments and decreases that risk of pigmentation rebound by delivering very short, lower energy pulses within the same pulse. And then the 0G articulated arm adds this usability where it's just really easy to use the wand. It's really easy to hold. It's not like you have this big hand piece that's awkward and weird. It just makes it really easy to do. So this is that proprietary IntelliBeam. So you can see on the picture, there's this even distribution of your energy all the way across the beam. And so it's not like you have, an 8mm spot and you really just have energy in that 6mm in the middle, or some in some places and some at others. This is giving you a really even, really smooth, consistent treatment with every single pulse that you deliver. So when you combine that with the hypersurge resonator, so you can see this little picture of the unstable poor beam quality. So compare that to the IntelliBeam, where you can see some areas where it may be a little too hot, it may be not as hot, you may be not getting the treatment that you think that you're delivering. And so you combine that with a hypersurge resonator. And so we know that the highest peak intensity occurs within the first 1/3 of the pulse. With the Hollywood Spectre, that's like 3.5 nanoseconds. So it's super, super fast. If that beam isn't consistent, then that consistency of your energy is not very good and becomes unstable, and you're not getting as much out of that pulse. And so whenever that IntelliBeam stabilizes that pulse, then you get more out of each pulse, and it's not just being unstable through the rest of the majority of that pulse. So this hypersurge resonator, like I was saying, this was super interesting to me. So it delivers this mini acoustic wave that makes the tissue vibrate. And so that actually breaks up some of that pigment or the ink, whatever it is that you're treating your target. And so you're not having to apply as much energy to it to break that up. And so you have that tissue undulation and this pressured effects that's actually not been able to be replicated with any other devices, including picosecond devices. And so that's what I was saying, is that what I had always been told is that was the advantage, is to get a picosecond device because the energy is delivered so quickly. It's almost like a whip, that it causes a little bit of that acoustic energy to be able to break up that target. And so but the downside that I've been told is maybe you're getting enough energy there, or maybe you have the power and maybe you don't, depending on the laser that you're using. And so if you're able to use a nanosecond device that's very, very consistent and then also has that acoustic energy, you're able to get really close to that pico to where it's very, very close in what you're able to achieve clinically. And that's important because whenever you're looking at the prices of the lasers and the complexity and what you're adding to your practice, if those clinical results are really, really close and the price of one is way more than the other, that's something really to think about and to consider. So this is a video of that hypersurge. So on the left is your Hollywood Spectre with the hypersurge, and then on the right is your Spectra. And so this is just your standard nanosecond device. And so you can see that actual waving of the tissue on the left that you don't see on the right. So you can see that physical acoustic wave that's breaking up that pigment. And so this is compared to the pico. So the pico's on the right, the Hollywood Spectre's on the left, and you can see that undulation of the tissue. Whereas on the right, the pico is that you don't see any undulation at all. And so you're not seeing that acoustic effect that you're seeing, absolutely with your eyes there on the left. And there's been studies that look at this shockwave treatment. Does this make a difference? Well, actually there are, that it shows that it does increase healing because it helps promote the kinases, the cytokines, and the stem cells to be able to come into the tissue, regenerate it, and be able to promote collagen stimulation. And that has that rejuvenating effect on the face that we're looking for. And then there's the PTP Plus. So this is really cool and exciting, especially if you treat people with any kind of people, let's just be honest, but anybody, a Fitzpatrick 4 or higher, where you may be a little bit more concerned that maybe they'll hyperpigment, you want to be very gentle on their skin, anyone that may have like thinner skin, anyone you just want to kind of baby that skin. What you can do is achieve the same energy you would with that single pulse mode, but you can put it into PTP mode. So that's a double pulse or a triple pulse or quadruple pulse. And so instead of that single pulse which gives a lot of energy all at once, you can deliver that same energy in pulses that are very, very close together within that same pulse at lower energies to build over time, because it's within that time frame, within the relaxation time of the skin. And so the skin doesn't have time to calm back down, it's still building that heat. And so you're getting the same effect with less energy all at once. And so basically it's just gentler on your skin. So this shows it a little bit better. So with your single pulse, you have a certain energy that's going into that risk zone that possibly you could have some hyperpigmentation, some issues. But if you took that energy and you went into the PTP plus mode, that way you could do less energy, but a double pulse. And so you're further away from that risk zone. Or you could go into the quad pulse, and so that's 4 pulses spread out in that really short time frame, and so you're able to deliver the energy but don't get anywhere close to that risk zone of having all that energy all at once. And so if you can move that handpiece pretty quickly, and it's really easy to do, to be honest with you, you're able to treat people up to 40 hertz without any risk to the skin. And this is really great for melasma because you can treat it without worrying about that rebound. So we're going to go into a little bit more of the improvements and some of the versatility and some of the treatments that you can do with this. So the 0G articulated arm, it really makes it very easy. So I have very small hands, my esthetician has small hands, and this handpiece is really nice and sleek and smooth and small. And so it's easy to get where you need to go where you need to go. That 0G makes it where it moves really, really easy. You're not fighting with the arm or the handpiece to be able to get the angle that you need to get. And a neat little feature on it is you can change the spot size on the handpiece and it automatically changes it on your laser. And so you're not having to remember to change it on your laser and go back and forth. Of course, there's a collimated laser that has a range of spots between 3 to 8 millimeters. So that means that you can hold the hand, you don't have to hold the handpiece right on the skin. You can actually hold it a little bit further out to make that treatment a little bit easier and to do that quick movements if you need to with that person on the PTP mode. So this is why I love this laser from the beginning, is the broad indications. There's so many things that you can do with it, and it's so versatile. You know, you can use it for so many different things. I was looking for something to treat pigment, to treat melasma, to treat a little bit of rejuvenation, some pore size, and generalized redness. And we got the bonus of active acne. We've actually seen people have a nice improvement with their active acne, which is nice because lots of times you may see somebody and they're coming in for pigmentation, but they happen to have a breakout, or you can't do the treatment, or you need to change the treatment. And so with this, you can actually treat the active acne, especially with the Hollywood laser peel, and it helps clear it up. So it's not FDA approved for that, but we've seen nice results. But you can use this for tattoo removal. It's great for sunspots. It's great for melasma. And freckles, pore size. We've really seen nice improvements on a lot of these things. And it's, that was kind of what I was looking for, and it's absolutely fit what we needed. So the Hollywood laser peel is everyone's favorite. So how exactly does this work? And so first of all, we apply this carbon. It's a patented carbon lotion. And so it's nanoparticle. It actually goes down into your pores. And so it's not just any carbon lotion can do this. This has to be the nanoparticle to actually get down in there. And this binds to all the debris and the sebum and all the stuff that's down there into your pores. We do one pass with the Spectra mode and the 1064, and this just heats up that carbon peel. And so it heats it, it helps it go down into those pores a little bit better, and then actually heats it up down in there. And so this can cause a little bit of mild epidermal turnover, and then it also helps kind of get all of those things out. And then the QS mode is the next next pass. And so this is the one that's really fun to watch. This is the one where you're actually going over and taking off that carbon mask. And this is where you actually vaporize that carbon mask, and it helps remove that dead skin layer, all the sebum, all the dirt and debris, all that kind of stuff kind of comes up and out. And you can see almost the little puff of it coming out. And in Houston, our air is not so great. So I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff in there. But that's the really fun pass. And that's the one that makes your skin soft and smooth and just feel so great. And then you can do a couple of passes just for that hypersurge tissue vibration. And so this is that collagen stimulation. This is helping that treatment last a little bit longer. You get more of that texture out of it. And this is super comfortable. 1 or 2 passes, just depending on the person's skin type. And to be totally honest with you, sometimes we'll do, just the spot treatments after that. If someone has some extra predominant little brown spots, we'll do the spot treatment, and it really helps. Makes the treatment better, the patient's happy, and takes 2 seconds to do. So here's a video that we did to be able to show our patients, introduce the Hollywood spectra, show them kind of what the laser looks like, what the treatment's like, show them what the carbon peel looks like, or the carbon mask looks like. And this is that pass to heat up the mask. And this is the fun one where we take the carbon mask off. I can see the little plume of the dirt and debris leaving the skin. And then you have that really pretty glow afterwards. And that makes for really fun videos to make. You can see the before and then immediate result. It's just fun to watch. And see how dewy and glowy. Makes for great videos. So this patient's beautiful. She really has nice skin to start with, but you can see it's a little bit oily, a little bit shiny, some pores. You can see kind of on her forehead, around her cheeks, slight pigmentation. And this is only after 1 treatment. Her skin just looks smoother, softer, just a little bit more even. She is super happy. She's gorgeous and super happy with this. And so it's nice to be able to see, see a difference, just with 1 treatment that doesn't have any downtime. And this patient, you can see kind of on her cheek, she has these dark spots that are already lighter, some around down here, and they're not gone, but they're already lighter. But it was only 1 treatment. So it's nice to be able to see that result just with 1 treatment. Even though I think freckles are cute, she's not crazy about her freckles. And after a couple of treatments, you can start to see that they're lighter, that she doesn't have to cover them with as much makeup. And whenever you start to see those, that improvement in the first 1 or 2 treatments, you really want to do more. You want to come back and, complete a series. And this patient has acne scarring that she's tried a lot of different things for. And I was really kind of surprised and really happy that some of the smaller scarring, like on the front part of her cheek here, was better. You could see it was softer. It wasn't as prominent. And, I said after 3 treatments of something that your skin looks great afterwards and doesn't have any downtime. Dr. Wang has a great picture of that immediate afterglow, just kind of dewy and really, really pretty, very much that red carpet look. And he also has some great pictures of what we've seen as well as, someone comes in with this active acne, and even that reddish purplish pigmentation after the acne, that you can see improvement in it. And it doesn't take that long. This is the 2 weeks post-treatment, and you can see that the acne's improved. It's been able to clear out those pores, and kind of even out some of the skin. And once people are starting to see improvement, they're willing to come back and they're willing to do multiple treatments, and especially with melasma where it's so hard and it's just hard to see an improvement. And, this is a really nice improvement by Dr. Palm after 6 treatments. Like, that's really beautiful. And especially for not having downtime, and, that person is going to come back and they're going to want to complete the series. And this is Dr. Kim, a really nice improvement in that melasma. And after 7 treatments, like, she has pretty significant melasma, and it's just a lot better. Like, I would do other lasers, non-ablative fractional lasers, and it would get a little bit better, and then sometimes it would get worse, and you'd really fight with it. It was really hard. And so it's nice to see this kind of improvement with something that, is so gentle on the skin. And then this pigmentation removal, that's great. That's only 2 treatments and a really nice clearance. And these little areas of pigmentation cleared out really, really nicely after about 8 treatments. And this is from Dr. Kim. We were able to do, so this is a lighter Fitzpatrick patient, but it's one of those patients that you still have to be really careful about because you still can have some hyperpigmentation. So after 4 treatments, you can see a really nice clearance of that pigmentation. As this could be one of those patients that could fool you, that you would think, oh, you could be a little bit more aggressive and then, have issues. So that's really great. And these little spots on the hands that everybody treats, or these little spots on the hands nobody likes, that's only 1 treatment, and it really looks, it's pretty much gone. And this is someone with that darker skin tone that you really have to be careful with. And after only 3 treatments, those areas of hyperpigmentation are so much better. The nevus of Oda, I had used a Q-switch Ruby long ago, and that was 8 to 10 treatments of, very difficult treatments. And this is really nice. After 4 treatments, that's a really great result. And of course, tattoo removal, we all know, can take a lot of treatments. And the good thing with this is it's a darker, it's a black ink, it's a little bit darker, it's a lighter Fitzpatrick, but only 3 treatments, and that is a really nice result. It's a pretty large tattoo. It's really good after 8 treatments. And as you can see, you can treat purples and greens. There are the other hand pieces you can get for the laser to be able to treat the whole spectrum of tattoo colors. So in summary, this is a very consistent, shortest 5 nanosecond pulse width, and that minimizes your thermal impact. So it minimizes that heat spreading to tissue where you don't want it to be. So that makes it a safer treatment than a lot of other ones, and it makes it very efficacious. It has the IntelliBeam technology that gives you that quality and stability of the beam, minimizes risk of PIH. And then you have the hypersurge resonator, that really cool acoustic wave that helps deliver high acoustic pressure, that better than most picosecond lasers to be able to clear that pigmentation without as much energy. Your PTP plus modes that help you treat patients of higher Fitzpatrick that may be trickier to treat with other lasers, that you're able to do this a little bit safer and easier. And then the ZRG articulated arm just makes it really easy to do the treatment. And Lutronic's unmatched global track record of clinical confidence and reliable high performance. They're just an excellent company. So personally, why did I invest in the Hollywood Spectra? Like I was saying, I was looking for something that could do a lot of different things, within my practice. I was looking to treat pigmentation. I was looking to treat melasma, generalized redness from rosacea. We've seen some really nice results with that. And just generalized redness of incisions after surgery. It has really cleared it very well on the 532 nanometer wavelength. And so it's really fit into what I needed in my practice. It does a lot. It's kind of a workhorse. It's a go-to for pigment and just clears it out really nicely. Very effective, very safe treatment for melasma. And of course, the Hollywood laser peel, it's so fun, and it's easy to market, it's easy to talk about, because I really do love this treatment, because I love the way my skin feels afterwards, and it's just fun to do and fun to watch. and they've got really great technology. And so the actual laser itself is a really solid laser. It does not need a lot of maintenance. It does not need a lot done to it. It lasts for a really long time. This is something that I was investing in for the life of my practice, that, you know, this is something that I will always use, always need, something for pigmentation, you know, something for melasma, and something that's really safe, that has reduced risk of complications like pigmentation, things like that. And that gives you really good results. And so this laser is able to give me a pico-like performance without the complication, without the cost of a pico laser. It's super easy to use. You know, the company's been excellent with us about training, clinical guidance. You know, if we needed to ask a question, they're just super easy to work with. Low maintenance. I was saying, it's an easy laser to have, and then no disposable costs, which even better. And I've enjoyed working with Lutronic. They're a growing company, innovative products. They're looking for answers to issues that we're having with lasers, and looking at great ways of answering them. So, and they've been a great professional team with great service. So it's a really easy laser to promote, to be totally honest. You know, like the Hollywood laser feels super fun to watch, like I said. And this fit a need. It fits a need in a lot of people's practice. People are looking for a laser for brown spots, for redness, for just tightening tone, that sort of thing. Just their skin to look really pretty, especially right now as people are going back into the workforce. They're going back to the office. They want to erase the last year and a half of everything that happened off of their face and go back in looking good. They don't want to look like we've been stressed this long. So it's a great time to have a laser like this, because we're able to deliver treatments that are effective, and just make them look better and more refreshed. And this is something that we can package with a treatment plan for our patients, you know, to have that 1 year, 5 year, 10 year plan, to have, okay, you package this with facials and with skincare, and this is how we address all of those aspects of aging, to be able to keep you looking good and refreshed and young as long as possible. Forever, really. We have regular newsletter emails that go out. So we introduce new technologies to our patients, and they appreciate that we are on the cutting edge and always looking for what's the newest and latest, greatest. And so they get that information from our emails, from our social media. You know, they come to expect that. And this is something that we've been able to make these great posts with, you know, to get that excitement and interest in our practice. And it's been on brand with us to be, you know, a Hollywood and a very luxe kind of a treatment. And we've had Lutronic be able to support our social media efforts by sharing our posts and helping market the treatments. And they have a lot of tools, you know, to help us convey what all these benefits are. And I love their marketing, because they have all, you know, they have this diversity that's already, you know, it's in the handouts, it's in everything you look at. And so people can see people that look like them having these treatments, you know, which makes you feel much more comfortable about having a laser, because not everybody is super comfortable just signing up for a laser, because they don't know, does this work with my skin? Does this not work with my skin? Is this safe for me? You know, they want to see what's the science, you know, what is this going to do? And can I have this laser? So it's been a great opportunity just to create a buzz. You know, it's just fun. I have other friends that they'll say, oh, I just really want to get that laser. And I've never talked to them about it. They just happen to see my social media. And so it's creating, you know, some excitement around it, which is great for our lasers and for our practice as well. You know, we've seen a huge boost in our laser productivity since we've been doing these treatments. You know, we went from the esthetician saying, okay, I want to do this many, you know, see this many patients a day, to, okay, I'm at my max. We gotta, you know, figure something else out, which is great. And we always want to, you know, have that growth mindset about, you know, doing more and being able to take care of our patients. And it's been a great way to attract our younger patients, especially, you know, if they want and need a lower downtime treatment. You know, they're working, they may have young kids, they don't have 2 weeks to take off for a treatment. They just need a glow up for right now. And this has been something great for me to offer to my patients that maybe have already come in for injections or surgeries, and then they're looking for something else just to make their skin look great and amazing and take care of brown spots and take care of this, that. And so it's been a great way to talk to them about other treatments. And this is on brand for us. I'm very particular about, you know, what we have and what it looks like and how we do things. And anyone will tell you that, but it's very much that, you know, luxury brand, Hollywood treatment, you know, get a great value. You will get, you know, good results for a good value, and be what it is that we can say it is, and feel very comfortable telling our patients that, you know, you're going to get the results that you want, and they've been very happy with it. And so we're able to have these treatments without breaking the bank. You know, you're able to have a very good treatment, be able to, you know, clear the pigmentation, do the things that we need to do without spending that much more money on the laser itself, and then all the complexities and everything that comes with that. So you can kind of see some of our posts and how fun they are to make. Put some music with it and give a little explanation, because our social media is meant to be educational, you know, to help people understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, and watch it and enjoy watching it. This one's one of our more popular ones on TikTok.
Hollywood peel.
So this is just a sample revenue model, just to give you an idea, you know, of what it could do for your practice. So say if 8 patients came in for the package of 3 for the Hollywood peels, you know, and 8 patients is pretty conservative, because you could definitely have lots more than that. Your average price, and that's for the package, would be $550. So it's achievable and attainable for a lot of patients. But then that would give you the revenue of $4,400, you know, and you're more than covering your payment, and you're making a profit. So like I said, that's very conservative. We've seen way more than that, and you know, it's been very good for us and very good for our practice. So like I said, the need is there. The need was there, and that's what drove me to look for the Hollywood Spectra. Is that's what patients were asking for, and they were looking for treatments for pigmentation and treatments, you know, for rejuvenation, and the ones that didn't have a huge downtime associated with it. And social media is going to continue to be a big driver in the treatments that we offer and what people are looking for, you know, because it's the way that people get their information now. And, you know, and we talk about the millennials and the Gen Z, but it's everybody, you know, everybody's looking on their phone, and they're looking at social media. So this is going to continue to be the way that people look for these treatments. Like I said, I invested in a platform for the practice, and I think that's what everybody should do, is look at what you need and what is going to work for you, and what's going to be, you know, a solid laser and a solid solution for you for many years going forward. You know, have something that has meaningful clinical benefits. You know, what does this mean for me and for my patients and their outcomes? And then if they're marketable, that you'll be able to do them and do enough, and, you know, and make sense for you. And of course, the company behind the technology matters, because it depends how they're looking at the problem and making the solutions, and how are they looking at you as, you know, a client, and working together. And speaking of working together, social media and the Hollywood laser peel, it works so well together. That was the first thing I thought when I saw it. It's like, wow, that's so fun to watch. It's almost like a pimple popper thing, you know, where you just want to keep watching it. And the nice thing is it works. It feels really great, and your skin looks amazing. So you're attracting, you know, the new patients and the patients that you want, and it's fun. It's fun to watch, and it creates the demand. So thank you so much for having me, and I will take any questions.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Dr. Sturm. A really well done presentation. I'll go ahead and shift into some questions that have come in during your talk. So one moment, and I'll start in a second. All right, well, let's take a break. You went right through. That was smooth as silk.
Yay.
Great job. I really like the way you just naturally just personalized all your commentary, and you just made it more like a story. So it makes it very easy to follow. You did a terrific job, and we'll just play with that very first intro slide, but that'll be easy. Paul and I can make a couple of quick edits in slide 1 and 2.
Okay.
But great work, Dr. Sturm. And the literally the only note I made to myself, and I thought maybe I can just add it to one of the questions that I thought would be worth it for the educational standpoint, because I know that Gina and sometimes our sales team, they try to remind our sales force, but we're noticing in a lot of, just to make a quick comment here, that in terms of smoke evacuators, I know
Mhm.
sometimes certain rooms have enough ventilation and filters that that's kind of how you deal with the plume, but that sort of sometimes seems to come up. And I wondered that because, of course, we showed a lot of Hollywood laser peel, I thought maybe I could weave a question about, how do you deal with the plume or whatever else in the room? But I wanted to ask you first, is that just kind of natural, airflow that kind of takes away that plume when you're treating now? And this is not for the recording. This is just for like just a quick conversation because I don't want to bring up the question if there's not a good answer.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's helpful to have a smoke evacuator just because it will go away on its own. And it really, honestly, if you don't have anything, it doesn't bother the patient more than anything. It bothers the person that's doing it. If they're doing it all day,
Right. I was gonna say, yeah, probably your nurse would be.
yeah, they don't love it. Like I said, the patient, they don't even hardly notice. But so it will kind of go away on its own. If you have a pretty well ventilated room, you may not need to worry about it. But if you have kind of a smaller room or it's not that ventilated, having a small smoke evacuator is helpful. And we
Okay.
had one from a different laser that we were able to use. I use way more on my spectrum than the other laser.
Yeah, sure. Oh, understood. And of course, let's face it, the carbon would end up making someone have to go through, filters every once in a while, right? So depending on what filter you might use or what, like a Buffalo filter or some other
Mhm.
device. So maybe what I'll do is I can bring that question up, around the Hollywood peel
Mhm.
just briefly, and maybe your response, I'll say like, how do you manage that? People are asking, what do you use or how do you manage the plume? And maybe a comment, I'm just suggesting this. Maybe you could, Dr. Sturm, you could say, well, we have, pretty large size, well ventilated rooms. So we kind of feel like we're in good shape, but I do have a smoke evacuator that we could bring in. And if people have smaller rooms with less quality ventilation, it would be probably well advised to get a smoke evacuator. Is
Mhm.
that something you'd be willing to, you kind of sort of said that, I'm just sort of putting
Yeah.
words out there. Does that sound okay? That way it sounds like, physician good guidance.
Yeah.
Does that sound all right? Like, so I'll sort of weave that question in toward the end, just a question
Okay.
about, what about smoke evacuators? But I like your comment. That way, someone with a smaller room with less ventilation, it would probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
I think if you said that, that would be perfect.
Okay.
Fantastic. Well, I think we can probably go ahead and shift into some of the questions, and I'll wait to get the recording going again. And maybe I'll end up, skipping one because I think you did such a good job covering some of the technology. I don't want to overplay that. You know what I mean? Like a whole question on IntelliBeam. I think you've already answered that so well. So I think I might skip one or two of them,
Okay.
Angela, but I'll go ahead and start up in about 10 seconds. Okay.
Okay.
Bill, one thing I wanted to mention is I know we talked about potentially having Dr. Sturm get off the camera at the end here, and I just wanted to know if you were still thinking that, or if you want to just.
Oh yeah, good.
Go on.
Yeah, good point, Paul. Yeah, Angela, I was just thinking this out loud, and again, up to you, but I thought it might be okay because we've got a nice picture of you at the end for the question slide. Maybe it's okay for the video to turn off as I start the questions. Does that sound all right? That way you have to worry about whether you're looking at something, reading something, you know what I mean? Because I think it might be more distracting. But what do you think about that? We were just thinking maybe turn the video off. That way, if you wanted to reference anything during the Q&A, you know what I mean? You don't have to worry about your eyes kind of darting around. It's up to you.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. I'm okay either way.
I think it's okay if we go ahead and if we just turn off the video, then if you want to just turn off your or not the screen share, but just the actual, will that work, Paul? I think it will.
Yeah, that should work. No problem. Yeah, but either way, totally cool.
Yeah. So go ahead, Angela, if you want to just turn off your screen share. There we go. And then I'll start up. I'll just kind of pretend that I've ended again and start up with the questions.
Okay.
All set?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Give me 3 seconds of blank and then I'll start. Thank you again, Dr. Sturm. Great presentation. And yes, we'll go ahead and I've got a couple questions we've collected during the presentation. Um, One just a general question is, again, a lot of people that are Spectra users out there, probably considering the potential for upgrade, they just want to kind of have you restate just in summary form the big differences between Spectra and Hollywood Spectra.
Sure. Now, because of the core quality and the precision of the R&D of the original technology inside Spectra, this let us be able to further enhance the resonator and the beam at the same time. And this kind of turbocharged the Spectra and expanded the clinical capabilities and versatility. So this sort of created a new class of short pulse lasers, the nanoacoustic shockwave.
Okay, terrific. And you did a nice job in the presentation, sort of highlighting some of the big differences. Um, how would you say the hypersurge resonator in particular is contributing to clinical results? And maybe you can speak to what you've seen with the Hollywood laser peel as an example, because you sort of described that vibration effect, but people are kind of just asking for more examples. How is it kind of actually improving your clinical results in your practice?
Well, that hypersurge resonator has given us the ability to stimulate collagen even a little bit more, and a lot more than what you would just with your regular Q switch laser. And so we're able to do the treatment, able to target the pigmentation, but then also give that extra little collagen stimulation, with that vibration of the tissues. And so you're kind of getting a 2-for-1, because that helps break up some of the pigmentation, but then it's also getting that extra little collagen boost, and it's helping the treatments last longer. And I've heard other people say 2 to 3 weeks. I would almost say up to 4 in some people, because when they're coming back for their next treatment, they really kind of still have that little glow.
Terrific, terrific. And why do you think, I know you referenced it a couple of times, but you've obviously had a great experience with Hollywood Spectra. There are some people that sometimes ask about specific, comparisons, but in general, you made some reference to how this new nanoacoustic performance versus going pico, and sort of some trade-offs. Can you maybe just summarize again as to why you've kind of asserted that it seems like Hollywood Spectra is seeming to perform in a pico-like way? Maybe you could just kind of expand on that again.
Sure. Now, the Hollywood Spectra has that hypersurge resonator, and so you're able to get that extra acoustic energy into the tissue, and so that is kind of acting like the pico. And like I was saying, like that's what everyone had always told me is, oh, when you have a pico, it's like cracking the whip, and so that energy is just so fast that you get that little acoustic burst. But with a Hollywood Spectra, you're able to get that acoustic energy and not have everything that else that goes with a pico. And so it's the results are really, really close. Like it's really pretty good. They're neck and neck, if not even a little bit better as far as like that hyperacoustic energy, because we know that that's better than some of them. And it kind of depends on the laser, of course, because you're going to get different results with different ones. But in the end, what matters is what results are you getting with your patient, and are you able to meet their expectations, and is the laser able to meet your expectations for what the results are. And I think it does an excellent job being able to do that, and also being really safe, and not having to put quite as much energy into it to be able to get those results.
Terrific. Another question, a lot of people asked about the PTP plus mode, and maybe how could you sort of describe when you find it to be most useful? You mentioned melasma as one area, but
Mhm.
maybe you just could describe where you kind of think it makes the most sense, the PTP plus mode.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you're treating with someone for melasma, it's very useful. Anyone that I might think, maybe that you might be a little more tricky, you might have a tendency to hyperpigment. Anyone, honestly, that's probably Fitzpatrick 3 or higher, I really like to use it, because I can deliver a very safe, effective amount of energy. And I'm not as worried about, oh, is their melasma going to rebound, or am I going to have some PIH afterwards? So the Fitzpatrick 1 and 2, you almost never worry about them, but it's kind of everyone else that like you want to be able to get the most out of that treatment while being really gentle. And the PTP plus has been really useful for that.
Terrific. One thing I know that is often asked related to the Hollywood laser peel, which looks like you're staying very busy with your practice, which is great. And that is the plume and smoke evacuation. How do you kind of manage that in your practice? Because it always seems to be a concern for many. And
Mhm.
how do you manage it in your practice? And what do you suggest for others that may have to plan for that?
Yeah, it's something that you need to know that it's there and decide what you want to do with it and what, kind of what works in your space. Because if you have a larger room, it's very well ventilated, it may really not be that much of an issue, because it's the treatment so fast, it's not really going to bother the patient, but for the practitioner that's doing it, you do need to take that into consideration. But so if you have a smaller room or maybe it's not as ventilated as well, it would be a great idea to get a smoke evacuator. We have one of those Buffalo ones and it can work pretty well. Um, it's definitely not a bad idea, and especially if you have a smaller room and maybe the ventilation isn't quite as good.
Thank you. A lot of questions about your social media, and a lot of people are just basically giving thumbs up. They're all, I think, very impressed with the work that you do, Dr. Sturm. I wonder if you could share examples. People are sort of asking, I'm trying to collect a number of posts that say, what do you see if you could try to summarize what you think has worked best? You sort of touched on it in the presentation, but what would you call your pearls of why your social media seems to be so impactful? Maybe you can just share like, the highlights or the best practices.
I think social media is always being consistent. So posting on a consistent basis, being, on top of what's going on and cutting edge. And that's kind of with everything, you want to have your finger on the pulse of what's going on and what's new and what's exciting. And then being able to tell a story with your post, make something that's visually interesting to watch and or has, music that's trending and, have your finger on the pulse of what everybody's wanting to see, but also kind of making it educational so they're getting something out of the post as well. So making it fun and kind of educational and pique their interest of, oh, what is that? Maybe that's something I'm interested in checking out. Maybe that would be good for me.
Excellent. And I know that I think a lot of people, based on the comments I'm seeing come through the webinar, would you mind just stating again, Dr. Sturm? We'll probably wrap up here, but go ahead, please, and state your Instagram handle and just kind of remind us of how people can follow you. At the very least, they can at least track what you're doing and follow, and maybe pick up some good tips. Because, as I say, the quality of what you've been sharing is outstanding. So, if you want to share that, that'd be great.
Well, thank you. And I do have to give a shout out to our team because we've got some very creative people that are wonderful and help us with those posts. But if you want to follow us, I try to make everything easy. It's just my name, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, they're all the same. It's at Dr. Angela Sturm.
Terrific. No, that's fantastic. Well, we really appreciate your time and preparation for this presentation. It really was outstanding. And for those that obviously were able to view and listen, we appreciate your attendance. And this will get, of course, recorded and posted on our website within a number of days. So thank you all for joining. And Dr. Sturm, thank you again for your great presentation.
Thank you.
Great work, Angela. Wow, really smooth as silk and nice job with the questions. It's always kind of a little tricky to kind of just jump through the things that I think will be reinforcing, right? But also hopefully sound a little bit more off the cuff. But thank you for doing such a good job. That was really well done. And we're only a couple minutes past 7 your time. So I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, we did good, even with the
This
technical
is
difficulties.
no. Actually, no, this was really pretty darn smooth. And this is going to be pretty easy editing for Paul and I. It'll be a cakewalk. So you made it easy for us. And by the way, I love this post. And one thing of the picture that you took for the upper corner of this slide, Dr. Sturm, the one thing that really caught me off guard, and it makes me think like, well, because she's so petite, you're just like probably like 5'8" or something. You're probably my height, right? But when I first saw it, I'm like, oh my God, the spectra looks gigantic. And I was like, no, the spectra is totally small, but Dr. Sturm is this little petite thing.
Well, I'll take it. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
So I'm
all
like, when I
angles and
first saw it, I'm like,
lighting.
yeah, I was like, what happened to the system? I was like, no, it's because
No,
you're
it's
like a
very
little,
small and sleek.
you're like as little big as my little finger. So anyways, but yeah, that was a great shot. I'm glad you put that extra touch in. And again, that's just a classic. You just have a good eye for branding, and that was really nice. You did that. Thank you. It's a nice touch.
Well, thank you.
And I'll follow up, by the way, whether it'll be Gina or myself, but we'll make sure we sort out how to. I think we have to eventually have you kind of send us an invoice, which I'll sort out through email. That way you can kind of email us something for your time for the recording, right? Per whatever I think the agreement that was set up. So we'll make sure we, process that pretty quickly. But again, have a great rest of the week and hopefully a good fourth weekend.
Y'all
And
too.
and I'll follow up in a little bit once we know when we're going to start, promoting and targeting, which, as I say, it could be a couple months down the road. But fantastic content. And again, continue the great success you're having. And we're so glad that you're our customer. Have a great rest of the night.
Y'all too.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Paul, for your help.
Very welcome. Thanks. Have a great night, everyone.
All right. See everybody. Bye-bye.
Later.